Hello, universe. How you been? Well, I've been exercising, so sorry for being a little out of breath, but I wanted to make sure to apologize for what is going to turn out to be an endurance run of 2 episodes if you're going to actually see it through, which I don't even know if you should start, so I'm really not instructing any return value as your reward at the end of all this, but you can't just go halfway or else you lose the whole point. So what you're going to listen to now has been recorded on April 29th and March 3rd. March? How about May? At least I got the first 2 letters right. And it's discombobulated and dissatisfying, but it is the foundational premise upon which the next recording brings some closure. Now, I still don't get around to why I'm the lowest achieving definition of an American citizen currently alive in America today. We'll save that for the episode after that. So really, this might even be like that initial Star Wars trilogy, the part where you're like, oh, that first part was just, what are they even doing? And the second part, you're like, I still don't know what they're doing. The third part, well, at least he had that Darth Vader scene where he fought Obi. Yeah, that's what this is like. And I'm not promising that when I finally enunciate why I'm the least achieving American currently alive, that it'll be worth it. But at least it'll make up for all the shit I put you through in these 2. So, happy day! It's now the 4th of May, and I'm on my way, so let's all say, Odelay? I don't know. Hi, Beck. Oh, universe. How you doing here on the 3rd of May in whatever year you're going to number this? We'll number it 24 because then we can have a small straight like in Yahtzee. In fact, this is the 4th small straight day of the year and the last one. So if you thought I was going to miss recording on a small straight Yahtzee day, universe, I might have. Frankly, I didn't even know it was Yahtzee day till like 2 minutes ago. So really, this has nothing to do with Yahtzee. Although it could. Should I go get the dice? Do you think that'd be fun? Should we play? Oh, let's not play Yahtzee. Do you have a score sheet? If you have a score sheet, we can make it work. Okay, let's not play Yahtzee. Hello, universe. It's not that I'm not in a Yahtzee mood. I'm always in a Yahtzee mood. Throw 5 2s? Hell yeah, Yahtzee. But what I did instead of throwing 5 2s is on Monday, I spent 26 minutes and 17 seconds beating around the bush regarding the topic at hand, which was my potential, which is high here, very high, my potential to be the least accomplished American currently alive in the structural framework upon which we would draw your typical accomplished American. In other words, whatever criteria you think you're going to throw at the wall to say, well, that's what we're going to judge our most accomplished American by, that list right there of those finer points, subsets, and all those bullet points, including the hashtags, all that is how we're going to judge who is the most accomplished American. Well, when I pass through to get my grade, I'm saying I believe my grade would be the lowest of all. Yeah. So that's probably why it took me 26 minutes to get around to what I was going to talk about before I got to that part, which was money. Money, 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 money. And here's the thing. In these now 2 minutes and 27 seconds right here, I feel like I've pretty much conveyed as much worthwhile subject matter, created as much quality content, as it were, as I did in those 27 minutes. But there's still some stuff in there that's worth listening to. So here's the thing. I'm going to chop it in right here because I publish everything I record. And you're going to see right away when I start describing a topless basketball activity, you'll know that alone is enough of a reason for this thing never to see the light of day. But I've asked you to be patient before. I just don't know if I've ever asked you to be this patient with the shenanigans that my brain pulls. But if there's at least some level of excuse to be had here, I was so high. So high that I haven't even taken a bong hit today as some sort of equilibrium reset against what you're about to listen to. So, sorry. Pause. Well, hello, universe. I'm actually pondering going to a yoga in the park event Thursday night. For real. I know. Fuck, man. I don't even recognize myself, so don't ask. But haven't gotten in good enough shape that I wouldn't be embarrassed to play a shirts versus topless basketball game with a bunch of women. That'd be fine. But I'm going to do the yoga thing first. Because I don't even know if the other activity exists. That's how high I am that my mind went there. Oh my God. I'll tell you one thing about running out of concentrate is you stop having such an enormous tolerance for marijuana. And thus, what's left in your scrappy pile of little chunky green herb derivative gets you fucking high. I mean, I'm really high right now, which, I mean, it's always appropriate, but it's probably going to take the discussion today on both why I am the single, this is all my fault. Right? Why am I doing this? Because this is all my fault. So I have to explain myself. And if this is all my fault, you'd expect that at least somewhere on the scale of accomplished Americans, I would sit somewhere way down low, right? And I was figuring out today that I think I might even sit at the bottom of that list. Honestly. I'll explain it to you and you can tell me if I'm wrong. But the point is, of course, I don't sit in the top 10 percentile like I do for everything about being a good boy and going to college and shit. No, I'm saying none of that actually has ever mattered. And so I've probably always been the last person in America getting the least done. And what I am getting done is branding me the least valuable American you can possibly imagine. So with that in mind, maybe I should pause and take another bong hit. You're welcome, YouTube. The weed is just fucking phenomenal. And oddly, I only have 2 answers to the question so far. And the second one I only got on Friday. And I hadn't thought of this, which is a good answer, but I've been asking random people around the city, can you tell me what is going the most right currently at this moment right now? What do you think is on the biggest upswing? What has shown its potential and is only overachieving and continue to look like it might even do more? What do you got for an answer? And I'll tell you, that is a hard question to answer even with anything. And I've only got 2 responses so far that I consider legit. So once I get my top 5 for that, I will announce it. But do you have 5? No, you don't. Pause. Untethered am I, so I unpaused. Try new stuff out because I'm fucking hard. Wow. The first discussion we're going to do today is money. Now, money. Money. And I am unfortunately always trying to break everything down to the level of a 3rd grader. And I don't think that's necessarily irresponsible. I just think it can be really challenging, and people will start to immediately assume that just simplifies things in a capacity in which they don't even matter to be analyzed. And I say it's the opposite. I say, well, if you can't tell me like why the first idea about money came up and people were like, you know what we really need to solve our problems is money, because it wasn't always there and now it is there and it feels like it's fundamental. So how did it go from never being there to fundamental if it wasn't the kind of, you see what I'm saying? Like a 3rd grader should know the sequence of how we went from having no money to having a system where money's the only thing that some people even value in this life. Because money isn't real. It doesn't exist. Money isn't anything other than a man-made construct. It's not corn. It's not water. It's not electricity. It's shekels, baby, or dinero, or pesos, or I don't know. What's your version of money? Whatever it is, it's made up. Pause. Pause. And can I just get a little peace and quiet from the harassment crowd about made up? Because obviously I'm talking about made up in the concept of dress like a clown, right? Made up, created, thought up, envisioned. Somehow, some way, this is what we do now because I made up this idea and it made so much sense that we don't know how we did it without it. Okay. You said it's called a what? An idea? Is your idea mathematics? No. Is it language? No. What is it then? Oh, it's what do you call that? You call it simoleons? Pause. All right. Pause. Inspired unpause. Because do I want to tell you about how little money I have? If you've listened at all, you know that I don't. I live intentionally as a pauper. And this is something that keeps me balanced, tranquil, joyful, motivated, in touch with the better self that I can be, and frankly, completely and 100% directed with purpose and destiny. But I don't know that it does it for everybody that way. So this is not prescriptive, nor ever am I telling you how to live your life. I'm telling you how I live mine with 100% disclosure. Because I'm not embarrassed about anything about me. In fact, I wouldn't want to change the character in my narrative at all, except in the ways that I'm currently changing him, like to get a little fitter and a little less sugary in his diet intake. But my point is, the refinements I'm making personally, I'm even sharing, but the fundamental me is me. And the fundamental me is perfect. I also believe the fundamental you is perfect. But if I don't explain how imperfect I was pronouncing my perfection to the world, then I don't know that I'm giving you the authentic, various, both moments of true inanity to combine with true inspiration that my life really is. And everyone's life is, I suppose. But because my story is not special, it's just me. And the ways that I have come to see how valuable our stories are, well, that's part of what I'm documenting here, is the very traditional, routine experience that you are thinking humanity has as its baseline realization in at least American life is wildly underselling it. And so to come from the place of realization that it is to monotonously walk through life and let American life happen to you versus unplugging enough from American life to realize what life is capable of, well, let's just say that might be my most poetic description of what I'm up to ever. That's how bad a poet I am. All right. Should I pause? And did I do anything? I'm just trying to see if there's a pregame checklist item that maybe I'm not covering. I've got some yogurt here. We'll take a sip of that. That sounds good. Speaking of sugar intake, though, there's my last real, yep, that's got to go sooner or later, item in my diet. I know I can't eat yogurt forever, but man, is it hard to give up. I've given up peanut butter. That was tough. And I'm almost down to all natural foods, but I still eat bread. I don't know if I'll ever give up bread. I just love a piece of buttered toast too much. All right, why am I telling you this? Because it's my podcast. And I'm now okay with the word slippage that podcast represents, because I have a body of work that if you ask me, what do you mean you record a podcast? Well, here's the link, dude. I recommend you listen to none of it, but you'll at least see that that's what I mean. And people will look at that and go, holy crap, man, why'd you do all that? And you go, I don't even know. But somewhere in there, I try to explain it. It just takes a while to get to it. And if this project was launched with the intention that it was launched with, then what I call it now matters not at all. And so as a word specificity exercise in reverse, I will now ease up on myself when I describe this as a podcast. Because yes, it's a recording. The only audience here that matters is me. But the idea that the body of work exists, I have to recognize what it is to anybody else who might encounter it, which, because I have intentionally made it public, is entirely possible for anybody in the universe. With that in mind, this is my moment of consideration for you, the listener, telling you that, what am I telling you? Why am I even here? What are we talking about? Man, I'm fucking high. Okay. If you get anything out of this, the only thing I can hope you're hearing to resonate from within is how much love in buckets, droves, your capacity for self-love is not being realized. I say this because I so rarely run into someone whose cup runneth over. I've done it once for sure, maybe twice, but I'd have to see them today to know. And this is not something I was ever capable of until maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago. At that point, I transitioned to the point of knowing this is as far as self-love can get. I'm fully realized. Now, there are plenty of ways that I can be surprised to find another capacity in which to have love for myself. I mean, come on, I'm fucking wonderful. I can't even imagine all the other mirrors, if I look into them, what they'll look back on. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is, I've recently been more intently practicing piano, especially the Charlie Brown theme. I would like to teach myself to play about 5 songs that I remember playing as a kid, as well as I played them as a kid. That would make me happy. Just because the coordination of creating music, even if it's derivative, and of course, when would I ever have written a song, but playing the Charlie Brown theme has always made me happy. And I've lost that. I want it back. It's that simple. So when I've been thinking through the guitar that sits in my living room, that I've never once picked up with the intent of anything other than learning the simplest chord progression, which I've spent maybe 3 hours total across a week, somewhat demonstrating the functionality of the guitar to myself. Well, that's an instrument that if I were to take enough dedicated time to develop a skill and a repertoire of musical capability, I might find an entirely new capacity in which to love music. Even though tinkering on the piano to get 4 or 5 songs that I used to play back under my belt is all I really give a shit about with the piano. Meaning, your capacity to find new ways to love life depend greatly on how much you're willing to explore things in your life and welcome them as new opportunities to love yourself even more. Myself playing the guitar, I think of it. I certainly think of it a lot more than myself being a comic book artist. But if I were to develop a skill of pen and ink illustration to the point that you can sometimes see represented in today's graphic artist scenery, man, I would be impressed with myself. I mean, I would be, because that to me seems almost impossible. And so, have I limited myself as an artist because I see that challenge as too daunting compared to a guitar, which, let's be honest, would probably be more work if I were to truly enjoy it? I don't know. These things are fundamentally why your story matters. because the options that you maneuver through were options that were other things not done. So your story becomes unique. And your fulfillment inside of what you're realizing is yours alone. There's nobody who can restrict your interface with this reality, because it's all on you, and we all have that privilege. So when I try to convey why I'm the least on the list of Americans, what, there are 339 million of us now, and I'm 339 millionth? Fuck. You know? That sucks. But whatever. You got to realize who you are. And you got to embrace it. You got to know that at least if that's who you really are, well, then who gives a fuck where you are on the list? If you're doing something to push yourself up a list of things by being something other than yourself, well, then you've given the list all the power. You're the one with everything here that needs to be realized inherently structured within. So if you're off balance, it's time to just look in the mirror and say, why? And what else can I be doing that can bring me the personal realization of fulfillment that matters, that my life harmonized there? Because if a non-veteran, non-voting, non-vaccinated guy like me, and that's like the 13th thing on the list, I mean, oh my God, that's enough for some people to decide they need to jump off a bridge if their reality had changed that much that they woke up and found out tomorrow that they had neither served their country, ever cast a vote of consequence, or been vaccinated. I've done all of those religiously. Well, then you have a different story than me. I promise you that. Pause. Unpause. And. I want to hear it. I especially want to hear it if you believe you have been self-actualized to the realization of who you really are through those processes. Because then not only do we have different stories, but we have different soul energy and should probably meet, because connecting with different soul energy, well, you don't get those opportunities ever except right here. So that's what my life has always been about. How many unique experiences with other people are out there? So you can see why unmarried's on the list, right? Pause. And unpause. Weren't we talking about money? Wasn't that the whole point? Fuck. Sometimes. All right. I don't know if I want to talk about money now. But we have to. That's the thing. Money. All right. So I intentionally live as a pauper. That's fine. You can do your thing. You can intentionally live as a hedge fund manager, whatever the fuck, right? I don't care. Do your thing. But I'm never going to own a jet. As a matter of fact, on my list down here is that I'm assetless. But I'm never going to own a jet. And that's too bad, because I bet flying a jet around and doing that kind of shit's pretty cool. You know, being all jet trending? No. The one thing I can say is a jet sounds complicated. You know, it just seems like the kind of headache I'm glad I don't have. So when I think about my non-ownership of a jet, most of the time I think, good on me. You know, good on me. Good on me. Honestly. Seriously. Because I just don't know that I'm the kind of guy that should own a jet. And I'm fucking cool with that. So, small but a somewhat relevant point on how you get to know that you're maybe not the kind of guy who has to have a penthouse apartment. Or maybe you are, but I'm just saying, I get all these signals as a fucking American that if you don't have a penthouse apartment, you're not worth a shit or whatever. But pick your signal of choice. This doesn't matter. But if you listen to that signal, well, you've already lost. Pause. Unpause. So is money a signal? Honestly, did you ask that question? Did you? I'm the only one in the room, right? Who the fuck is asking the questions? What? God, I hate when I go mentally solid. because then I recognize my dissociative states. And to be clear, for all of you who think I'm crazy, we already know I am. And conversational back and forth in my own head is usually the kind of thing I save for a bus trip on a public system in the city. Because otherwise, sometimes I'll just start speaking my mind out loud. And I know this makes people think I'm putting an act on, but I constantly am barraging myself with internal dialogue. And if you're not surveying the sides of the issues that are there, are you really thinking, or are you just learning thoughts that now are you? I've never once heard something and immediately thought, now I understand myself better because I've heard that. No, I hear shit and I go, all right, fuck, I kind of buy into that. I mean, I think this guy's a douchebag, but that's fucking insightful what he just said. Is this guy not a douchebag? Have I fucked that all up? Hold on a second. No, he's a douchebag. Well, okay. Always think about all sides of the issue. And the fact that he just said that about money, now. My point is, everything in life is you and your interpretation and consideration and implementation and activation and all that other shit. But it's you. It's you. It's you. It's your reaction. It's your reverberation in the energetic universe of all of us. And if you're not listening to internal triggers of destiny, purpose, and fulfillment, and then seeing what the world has to offer and loop inside of all that as possibility, potential, and whatever else you want to call your activation level of realization, well, then what are you doing? Why are you playing the game from the outside in? Why are you looking at outside and saying, okay, well, those people look successful, those people look happy, those people look fucking, what do people in America look? Those people look stressed out, those people look paranoid, those people look about to be triggered, and those people look like they're going to shut their curtains and never come outside again. Yeah, people do look like that now. Well, you don't see a whole lot of joyful skipping through the park people. At least I haven't run into a lot of them. And since I'm one of the few that does it, I'm figuring I would see more of them. But no, there's none of them. There's kids. Kids still are happy. Our kids are still, kids fucking rule. You know? I'll tell you the worst. Oh, I should put on here. Oh, I have kidless. Okay, childless. Kids are the only, like, true expression of potential that still exists. Everybody else is fucking cynical. Everybody else is pissed or fucking aggrieved or legitimately and completely wrongly taken advantage of. Who knows? There are victims everywhere, and then there are people who would just prefer to be a victim, and then there are people who think victimhood looks like something that they should get more of, so now they're a victim. I don't know. Just seems like a lot of collapse, a lot of group hugs, a lot of fucking stroking each other's goddamn tendency to be poor and uninspired, or I don't know what. Like, we just seem like, I don't know. I can't figure this shit out all. But for me personally, if anybody else were to Freaky Friday their way into my life, they would immediately have a heart attack or commit hara-kiri. Because, again, who I am fits into none of the expectations. And if I hadn't been okay with that, if I didn't know it was the only way it could work out, if I didn't realize this is how, if I'm going to have a life that has destiny, purpose, and fulfillment, it's going to be. Otherwise, I don't get those things because I'm being something else for other reasons that are outside me. Yeah, I still have that buzz of disconnect with my own self. That sense of I don't fit in, or I I don't get it. Oh, why is everything so hard? Why can't I just be myself? Well, you can, but you have to be okay with the self that exists. And if that self finds its voice of, why were we doing this any other way? Well, then you'll finally drop all the shackles of feeling constrained by whether or not you got enough money in the fucking bank. So yeah, money is a measurement. It's a control. It's a way of thinking through the world in pluses and minuses. It is an entrapment of the greatest folly that has served mankind poorly, that nobody cares to think about, well, why? And so, 25 minutes into this thing, I think we can finally ask the question. Yeah, why? Why does money even exist? Why does money exist? Can anybody walk me back to when some dude showed up at the fucking cookout and said, okay, I figured out why we're all so unhappy. It's because we don't have money. And everyone went, yeah, fuck yeah. And then it's been a party ever since, right? I mean, or has it just slightly gotten better because money's here? Maybe that's what it is. Like, shit was bad, but now it's not as bad. Pause. Pause. I mean, it could be, right? Maybe people were thinking, you remember what it was like way back when? How shitty it fucking was? Fuck, man, it was fucking awful. And then we got money. Shit sucks, man. Seriously. I mean, it's not great. Shit's still pretty fucking bad, but it ain't like it used to be. Shit was fucking awful before money. Thanks, money. Pause. Good morning, audience. For once, I speak not to the universe, but to you. If for some reason you're listening to this, in whatever format you are, there is a play speed adjustment indicator that will allow you to at least get to 2 times speed. Do it. And if you can't tolerate 2 times speed yet, you will be able to soon enough, starting at 1.75, 1.7, somewhere in that range. Once you have listened to 10 minutes of me at double speed, you'll realize how slowly I speak. And you'll just think, well, what was I wasting all that time before with, This is the one time I'm giving you back a gift that only you can appreciate. More free time. Something we all deserve. Listen to me at double time. Do something that you didn't want to be doing in the first place while you listen to me. And you'll knock 2 things off your list that are on your frustration list if you don't. Pause. Pause. Yep. I was definitely too high on Monday. But it's the 3rd. It's May. It's still some year. That's the same year it was Monday, I think. But that doesn't mean that we still haven't made something that was terrible just a little bit better, so now it's just not as terrible. I can't imagine that's what money's injection into social order. I don't think that doesn't make sense to me. Money came in as a method of stratification because somebody thought they were smarter than the rest of the motherfuckers in the room, and they were going to prove it with this sidekick shenanigan simoleon thing they got going. And yeah, I don't believe we've been the better for it since. In fact, I know we haven't. Pause. Unpause. Because you don't walk into the community cookout with a concept like money and get the whole group going, oh, describe it again. That's so fucking cool that you just thought of that. Because now I can feel poor, something I've never felt before. Pause. Pause. And then, of course, some jackass sitting over there under the goddamn whatever we are sitting under here says, yeah, but you can feel rich, something you've never felt before, and feeling rich. Well, here in America, I mean, as far as I can tell, except for feeling famous, that's people's number one goal. feeling rich. Because I got more than those guys. Yeah, that feels good. Pause. Pause. Okay. I hear you. Yes, I heard you. The only reason I got more is because I earned it. The thing about money is it's exactly fair. You want some? Go earn it. I earn mine. Go earn yours. Are we clear? Pause. Unfortunate unpause. Yes, we're clear. You earned it. I get it. You were a plumber. You replaced those pipes. You got paid $900. It cost you $350 in materials to do the job, plus depreciation on your truck, plus you got to pay off your secretary, plus you got to pay off that alimony. Okay, so you're left with $66 at the end of the day. Oh, but you bought groceries. So you're $4 in the hole. Oops. I mean, I'm still proud of you, though. I mean, you'll catch up sooner or later. You'll be rich. You watch, one day you'll be rich. Pause. And I know. Your next complaint is that it's not about being rich necessarily. It's about all of the movement of activity that was generated in that last little scenario, despite the fact I came home $4 poor. At least I got some broccoli in my fridge. I got some new materials installed, and my neighbor's system is working perfectly. And my secretary still hasn't told my wife what's going on. So, if you don't think that's a day where I can put my feet up and relax and watch some Wheel of Fortune, well, then you must know where Family Feud's playing. Introducing the Hoodwinked family. Okay, yeah. This is my worst recording ever. I mean, it's so bad. I don't know what to do. I'm rusty, I'd like to think, but maybe I'm just uninspired. I'll say this. Feeling like the cataclysm is imminent sucks. I don't like having this dread. I can't get rid of it. I have done everything I can think of today to take my mind off the idea that we are, in terms of a lifetime, we are ticking seconds away from something that I believe will change the face of this planet. I can't escape it. So, pause. Unpause. And, I publish everything I record, and I do not have a clue how to save this recording, because the appropriate thing to do here would just be to admit that we have sold the American soul to the nation state known as Israel, and we did it over money. And they now have so much leverage over the American political body that they are going to not just continue the assault against humanity that is the genocide currently occurring in Gaza. They are going to widen that reach to the point that the world is compelled to reply. And that's not even what the catastrophe is. This is just the final misstep of a vision of humanity that has been tearing us apart since I've been alive. And yay, right? Yay, woo! Let's get rid of some of this evil that hangs over our very existence. Let's air it out and finally contend with that which is our darker nature. We are resilient, we are strong, and we are willing to be better. And we will purge from within that which makes us weak or ignoble. Because striving to be that humanity that sings at the highest level. It's the only striving collectively I can imagine it's worth doing. But had we not invented the Rice Krispie treat, then I would think, well, we could invent those. That would be worth doing. But I wouldn't know that we had those to invent because they hadn't been invented yet, so how could I even conceive of them? Accidentally microwave my bowl of Rice Krispies and marshmallows with some butter in them together? Okay, you're right, that could happen. Just like I could delete this recording. But I won't. So all I can say is we'll try this again tomorrow, and it can only be better. It can only be better.